Good morning, everybody out there in Instagram and YouTube. I hope you guys are doing well. Dana K here with Let's Talk ADHD with Dana K. Come here every Tuesday. So if you can hear me and you're tuning in, just give me a wave in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Where in the world, where in the US, what's the weather like? Here I am in Seattle. It's a bit cloudy today. Kind of feel like fall is coming and it's only the middle of August, which really upsets me. But let me know where you guys are tuning in today. Today I'm going to get a bit personal with you guys. I hope that's okay. Oh, we've Melbourne, Australia. What are you doing awake, Kylie? You should be asleep. It is very early or late in Australia right now, so you should totally be asleep unless you're somewhere else in the world. We've got someone from Hawaii, Maui. It is very early in Hawaii as well. We've got Virginia. Oh, Jessica, I think it might be from Virginia. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We've got Florida. I bet Florida is nice and sunny. Kylie, why are you tuning in at 3:13 a.m.? You should be going back to sleep. I don't know why you're here. I hope I don't keep you awake. But we got California, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for letting me know where you're tuning in from. We've got Austin, Texas. So we've got people from all around the US, someone tuning in the middle of the night in Australia as well, which is amazing. We've got San Diego. Guys, thanks for tuning in. As I mentioned, I wanted to get a little bit personal here today, and I hope that's okay. I want to share about something that happened this summer, and I honestly didn't think it was even possible for our family. But before we jump in, I just want to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, that just happened to randomly fall upon this Instagram and YouTube live today, I'm Dana K, board certified health and nutrition practitioner, and I specialize in working with families of kids with ADHD, helping them to naturally reduce those challenging ADHD symptoms. I can see someone's coming in from New York City as well. Fantastic. But even though that's what I do for my career, I'm also a mum of a child with ADHD. And years ago, my son's ADHD symptoms dictated where our family went and what our family did. Vacations or holidays, we call them holidays in Australia, even though I live in the US, were things we dreamed about and things we watched other families do, but not things that we did ourselves, and definitely not things that we allowed our son with ADHD to go on with other families or friends, So just give me a yes in the comments, guys, if you can relate to any of these feelings. It also shares with the rest of the community that you're not alone. One of our biggest worries back then was how my son might respond to disruptions in his normal routine. Children with ADHD thrive on routine and structure. And, I can see a couple of people have said yes, so thank you for sharing. We have a rude person that is saying something rude on YouTube, which is, not nice. Anyway, I used to worry about, how my son would adjust to the changes in routine, in particular in regards to his sleeping patterns. Back then, if his sleep was disrupted, we would all feel it the next day. Those meltdowns, those extreme hyperactivity, the difficulty coping with any change in plans, no matter, how small it might feel to us. I used to worry constantly about how these challenges would affect our entire family's daily life. And many children with ADHD are also really sensitive to sort of that sensory stimuli around them, like noises and crowds, bright light. So, that added element of the stress, can add to the kids with ADHD and also to us being their parents. Our son's sensitivity to sort of that sensory stimuli always made us question, how we would handle, that overwhelming environment of travel, that noise, the crowds at the airports, bright lights, could easily trigger meltdowns or sensory overload. Sorry, just reading a comment. I'm just trying to understand what that actually means. Anyway, but then, I discovered a game changer. I learned how to naturally reduce my son's ADHD symptoms, and now those things are, the worries of our past. They're all gone. And earlier this summer, my son was invited to go on a trip with the grade 8, people who graduated from grade 8 to celebrate, go across the country, go to New York City, go to Washington, D.C. And if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would allow my son to go on this trip, I would have told you, no way, not a chance, not with his ADHD symptoms being as bad as they were. Yes, and Benji's saying also the chaos of being an adult parent with ADHD yourself can definitely add to all of that stress. But what I want to say is, here we are. He's doing so well that we let him go, and he had the best time ever. No issues whatsoever. No calls from the teachers that he went with. No issues with friends. No issues with time zones or sleep or anything. So I honestly just wanted to hop on here today to encourage you guys listening in. If you're dreaming of the day when you can go on a family vacation, or like we did this year, send your teenage son away with friends, and you're thinking there's absolutely no way you'll ever get there, I want you to know things can improve. I learned the secret to naturally reducing ADHD symptoms in my own son, but now I've seen it in over 1,000 other families that I've worked with who, like my family, are now able to enjoy those family vacations, and who don't worry about sending their kids off with friends, or at least don't worry any more than any other parent that has a neurotypical child would worry about. I can also think of a family who just posted in our closed Facebook group for people working in our program that she just sent her son, who used to struggle so badly, off to 3 weeks sleepaway camp, and he did so well. So guys, if you want to get to a place where you cannot worry about your child's behavior while away from home, I want to share, first of all, a few things that you guys can start doing today to really start reducing ADHD symptoms naturally. So give me a yes in the comments if you're ready to hear these strategies, because if you're not, then I might as well just finish up today, but I know that you guys are. So, I want to share that with you anyway. But the key that I think a lot of people don't realize is there's something that is driving those challenging ADHD symptoms. Yes, sure. Thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing. If we can get to the bottom of what is driving those symptoms, you can begin to reduce them. And that's what I'm excited to share with you today. The things that are driving ADHD symptoms. Kylie's saying, please, yes, you better, getting up at 3 a.m., I will definitely share it with you, Kylie. I want to ask you guys, do you have any guesses on what is the number one thing that could be driving ADHD symptoms? So if you do have any guesses, just pop them in the comments right now. I'll give you a second to put in your guesses. There's one thing that is one of the main drivers of ADHD symptoms. So let me know in the comments. Okay, we got gluten. That's a good guess, Jessica. Let's see if anyone else has any other guesses. Nutrition, Kylie's saying, another good guess. Sugar, that's another good guess. Okay, refined carbs, sugar. These are all good guesses. And yes, all of these do drive ADHD symptoms, but they're not the number one thing. Food coloring is another one. Very good guess. So I'm going to share with you guys now. It is inflammation. Okay, so research has shown that inflammation in the body can lead to ADHD-like symptoms, even in individuals who don't have the condition. Okay, so even if they're not diagnosed with it, they can still experience ADHD-like symptoms. And inflammation, even if you do have a diagnosis of ADHD, inflammation can make the symptoms worse. So reducing inflammation can be a key factor in reducing ADHD symptoms. So you're probably asking, how do we reduce inflammation in the body? And a lot of you had some really good guesses around that. And that really, this question is the center of the focus of my work. So parents can begin to reduce inflammation in the body by addressing diet. Okay. So, everything that everyone said, that those food colorings, those refined carbs, those sugar, reducing those highly sort of inflammatory foods like gluten, dairy, and soy, as well as those refined sugars, those artificial flavors and colors, and preservatives. These are highly inflammatory substances that can lead to inflammation in the body, can lead to autoimmune responses, and also in some cases damage the gut as well. So yes, Kylie, you said gut health. Okay, so that is a big thing that a lot of these inflammatory foods can do to the gut. So the second step after removing those inflammatory foods is to identify other things that are driving that inflammation in the body, whether it's a breakdown in the gut, that leaky gut, okay, parasites, other food sensitivities, bacterial overgrowth, vitamin and mineral deficiencies, environmental toxins. So they're just a few. I don't want to list them all out here because that's just going to be a little bit overwhelming, but that's just a few other of those underlying things that can be exacerbating. Even if it's genetic-based ADHD, Benji, yes. I actually run a genetic test in my business where we're looking at the risk factor of genetic ADHD and see if it's a high risk, low risk. And I've seen even kids with high risk ADHD, genetic-based symptoms, have so much improvement in their ADHD symptoms when we reduce that inflammation. Okay, so that's really, really important. What about when only they like certain foods, burgers, pasta? Yeah, so we need to really help them improve their diet, but even we can adjust some of those things. We can adjust some of those foods that they're eating to be better for you versions. I hope that makes sense. These factors contribute to inflammation in the body, which can lead to exacerbated ADHD symptoms. And we identify a lot of these stresses through functional lab testing. You can also look for the presence of heavy metals in the body. So that's sort of the second way to sort of focus on reducing inflammation. The third way to reduce inflammation is to reduce environmental toxins. So things in your cleaning products, your personal hygiene products, EMF, that's those electromagnetic fields, the amount of technology that our kids are consuming. Technology is here, it's going to stay. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it goes sort of unmonitored, it can, be a bad thing. It can lead to the inability to focus. You think about our kids in swiping. How can you then focus for 40 minutes on a piece of schoolwork when you're so used to going like this? It really affects that brain function. So reducing ADHD symptoms naturally, it really is about reducing that inflammation, but it's not just about that. Okay. It's also about what to put back into that body. Once we've effectively reduced inflammation in the body, the second step that's going to help our kiddos with ADHD thrive is to restore that body back to that optimum function. So, that starts with diet as well. Replacing some of those inflammatory foods with better for you foods, bringing in more sort of fresh whole fruits and veggies, grass-fed animal protein, wild caught fish, healthy fats, so really good focus fats like avocado, coconut, olive oils rather than those inflammatory oils, and then eating a variety of foods that the body is actually craving and needs. So I've got something. I use a lot of internet and screen time, but I don't have a choice. Do you have any suggestions? So look, you've got to, I don't know how old you are, but really there's a lot of apps out there that can shut your phone off, that can shut your screen time off when you've hit a certain level of screen time, and, really taking those breaks every 30 minutes, even if it's just for a 5-minute break. So I assume that you're an adult when you ask that question. So that's just some tips there. So someone asked, what about supplements? consider bringing in some ADHD specific supplements. So some really great ones are probiotics, really to feed that gut-brain connection, magnesium, fish oil, vitamin D. Those are my top 4 supplements for kids with ADHD. But I do like to use the lab testing to decide what are the best supplements for that child. Every child is a bio individual. Every child is unique. It's really important to know what is going on in that body so we can target that specifically. Okay. Magnesium isn't helping. Someone's saying, have to argue with summer camp today about excluding it from field. Oh, I'm sorry that you're going through that. It's super, super hard. I can tell you back in the day when we first started this with my son, he did awful on magnesium. And that's because we weren't actually looking at what his body needed. And that's why it's important to really focus on that functional lab testing to see if your child actually needs magnesium. Some kids don't, and some kids do really bad on it. But, as a general rule, it's one of those ones that's mostly tolerated. The other thing is we want to focus on optimizing detoxification. No matter how hard we try, we simply can't avoid those toxins in our lives. Our kids will get exposed to toxins on a daily basis. So it's important to optimize their detoxification pathways. There are various ways we can do this. You want to start by eating plenty of fresh green foods. I know a lot of you are saying picky eater. Definitely there's tricks to get them to start eating those green foods. That's what we specialize in. But, let's just start by hiding it in foods that we make. I made meat sauce on Sunday. Oh my gosh, it had kale in it. It had celery. It had zucchini. It had carrot. My kids wouldn't have even known, and they gobbled it down. You want to drink plenty of spring water. Our body and our brain need water. Our brain's made up of like 70% water or something, okay? Spring water gives you a lot of minerals that we're lacking, and I like to rotate our spring waters so we're getting those different minerals in our body. Taking detox baths, okay? That's a simple one that we can implement today. Okay. I like to use magnesium flakes. You sprinkle a cup of magnesium flakes in the bath. You can do some baking soda as well. Soak in it for 20 minutes. Don't rinse off, or use, toxic soap or anything. Soak in it for 20 minutes, 3 times a week. That's a really good detox bath. It's light detoxification, not hard detox methods like some people out there promote for kids. I definitely don't like to take that approach. We need to know what's going on in the body. We need to optimize that body specifically. And then we can also, yes, broccoli is fantastic. Broccoli has sulfurine in it, and so that's also helping with detoxification. Putting it in a protein pancake, yes, Benji, amazing. That's pro tip right there. And then finally, you want to bring in some special supplements like binders. Binders can actually bind out some toxins that are floating around in the body. And then we want to prioritize exercise and sleep. These are both critical pieces of the puzzle for ADHD kids. I want to say that ADHD symptoms can be managed. They can be reduced when we do these things. We want to reduce that inflammation. We want to optimize that body. And we can get to a place where our dreams are happening. Those dreams that we always thought weren't possible, they actually become our reality. And I want this for you guys listening today, because I know that probably some of you out there are suffering like I had many, many years ago. I had all of these dreams. This year, my son went off on this amazing trip on his own and there were no issues. Last year, we took a big trip over the summer to Africa. The travel time was like 30 hours. He did amazing. I want this for you guys as well. I actually have a free ADHD fast class that actually goes into this stuff in more detail. So if you'd like to grab the link for that free fast class, you can just comment Thrive THRIVE. I think it'll work on this live training. If it doesn't, you can come back onto the replay and put Thrive on there, THRIVE. For those watching on YouTube, we will pop the link on the description, and you can come back and click that link, because that automation doesn't work on YouTube, but it does work on Instagram. So usually when you comment that Thrive, it should then send you a DM. If it doesn't do that, let me know, or you can actually get it in the link in my bio as well, and the replay on the thing will actually come up with that. It should work, I hope. So if someone has commented Thrive, let me know if you've got a DM from me automatically, just so I know that it's actually working. Yes, fantastic. It works on Instagram. Yay, awesome. I know that this reality can feel overwhelming as well. Believe me, I get it. I actually did everything I'm teaching you today with my own son with ADHD years ago, and I did it completely on my own, and it was so overwhelming. Making those dietary changes, spending hours online, trying to figure out which solution we were going to try next, fighting with my kids and my husband, over all the changes we were making, and wasting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this therapy or this supplement, or this new treatment that didn't work. And it was so difficult, What about ADD behavior? Yes, this works for ADD as well. Another thing I haven't talked about is parent training, or parent and child, ADHD parent and approach to sort of parenting. In our program, we actually have a parent and child therapist that does a coaching call once a week to help families really parent specific for ADHD, because we know that traditional parenting doesn't work for ADHD. The amount of money I spent on that back in the day, for me, it took a lot of time that I could have spent enjoying my family, so yes, you can totally go it alone, and that's why I provide a lot of this free training, because if that's what you decide to do, I want you to get to the best place. That ADHD fast class can really give you a good starting point of knowing what to do first. But if you do want to work with someone, or if you want to speed up that process and save yourself time and money, then I can definitely help you get results faster. You need a plan, you need a guide. That is what I do when I work with families. The ADHD Thrive Method for Kids is my exclusive program for parents of kids with ADHD, and it gives you both of those things. It gives you that testing, it gives you that guide for that bio-individual plan for your child, and gives you access to that parent and child therapist that I talked about as well. The other thing that we offer is actually a free ADHD Thrive Breakthrough call. So if this is something that you want to do, you can check the link in my bio and click that. But comment Thrive to get that ADHD fast class. That's going to give you some of those steps to get you started. Hopefully this training today has also given you some of those steps to get started. So remember, comment Thrive to get that fast class and grab that link to book a free call with my team. This has been a really great live today. Lots of engagement, lots of chatting, questions. I love it. I'll be back this time next week, Tuesday, on Instagram and YouTube for another live. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead and a good day. Take care. Bye for now.